Hi folks, this is Karim Raouf from our IT Visualizer channel. They will continue our lab, the Matrix Labs, the video number 89. We have been discussing in the previous video the following. We are still working with the Event Viewer as a troubleshooting tool to use it effectively to solve most of our problems concerning the Active Directory, concerning the operating system as a server or operating system as a workstation, to solve security issues or to use it for investigation for security issues, like for example if we need to investigate someone has accessed a certain file or a certain folder, someone has logged into a machine or so. We have seen a lot of scenarios that were generated by the AI tools like Claude 3.5 Sonnet and ChatGPT o1. So we are still working in the security cases that are generated by the AI tools, especially that I have found a certain documentation which calls event to monitor, which is a table as we can see from here. This is the explanation of the website. The following table lists events that should monitor in your environment according to the recommendations provided in monitoring Active Directory sites of compromisation. So there is a lot of events that you should monitor. If one of these events are recorded, then this is a sign of a compromisation, maybe a hacking process. Okay, and now as we can see here, this is the event legacy Windows event ID. I think this is for old Windows. Maybe the events are recorded or the numbers are different from one operating system to another. Potentially critical event summary. So there is some events that are high, some of events that are low, some events are medium. So as we can see here, we will discuss or we will try to feed the AI tools with this table and ask them to provide security cases so we can work with it. So for example, maybe Claude will take some of these events and create a hacking scenario based on these events. The same for Claude, the same for ChatGPT. So we can read here, for example, the legacy Windows event column lists the corresponding event ID in legacy versions of Windows, such as client computers running XP or Arial and servers running Windows Server 2003 or earlier. So this is why we have this column. The potential criticality column identifies whether the event should be considered of low, medium, or high criticality in detecting attacks. The event summary column provides a brief description about the event. So I'll try to feed ChatGPT o1 with this events and now asking him to create an exercise or a security case from these events. Let's try to read out this case and see if it will be a good one. Let's wait and see. So let me go there and read out loudly.
Below is a simulated tabletop exercise on an Active Directory security incident. The exercise is conducted in two phases. 1. Phase 1, identification. 2. Phase 2, containment, eradication, and recovery. The exercise will include alerts and log entries drawn from the list of Windows event IDs referenced in previous messages, role play between a junior IT administrator, the learner, and a senior IT administrator, AI mentor, the instructor.
Okay, again, I don't know why this is failed to read, but I'll try to read it with okay. I think we cannot read it from here. If I go and try to read it step by step, so we have stopped at, let me hold for a moment. So here is step-by-step analysis, the incident and the feedback and discussion of the tools used. Okay, so we have a junior IT, the learner, and the senior IT, the mentor or the instructor. Phase 1, identification, scenario setup and initial alerts. Senior IT admin AI mentor, we have received a set of alerts in in alerts in our SIEM security information and event management tool, as well as some unusual logs on our domain controller. Here's the information we have so far. So he built his scenario on events that I have feed him up from this table. Okay, so let's see here. Detected event 4625 failed login attempts from the same privilege account administrator across multiple servers within a short time span. Correspondent event ID 4624 successful login for administrator on a domain controller after several failed attempts. So he's correlated the two events together. Okay, unexpected group policy change event 4719 indicating that the system audit policy was changed, closing or disabling audit. Okay, event 4672 special privileges assigned for a suspicious new login session. A certain user is assigned special privileges. Maybe this is an indicator of a user added to the domain admins group or a high privilege group. So we can see after that he is referring to this one. 4730 indicates a security enabled global group was deleted without prior authorization. So this is deleting a security group, okay, which is strange. He is not adding to it, but he is deleting it. But this special privilege assigned, we should see an entry for a user that is added to a privilege group. Anyway, let's continue. Event 4765 indicating SID history was added to an account. This is particularly unusual if not a part of a planned migration. We have discussed the SID history before, which is a very, very critical option if it is this attribute is active on a user. Then it can change him from a normal user to a privileged user just by adding the SID of the domain admins group, or adding the SID of a domain admin, or adding the SID of the domain admins group, I think, or adding the SID of a privileged user in the domain admins group. So this is also a strange thing. We don't have migration. We should not, or this security group is deleted, and all of this is done after maybe after off hours of work, or after we don't have work hours, or after working hours. So let's continue and see here. These alerts came in the late last night, with no legitimate administrative changes was scheduled. I would like you to analyze these logs and alerts to determine what might be happening in our environment. So he's giving this to the junior IT and ask him to analyze and give his feedback. Junior IT failed unsuccessful logins, okay, 4625 and 4624. Repeated failed logins attempts for administrator account could significantly either a brute force attack or a misconfigured script trying to authenticate. However, the fact that a subsequent successful login occurred on a domain controller is concerning. It could indicate that the attacker eventually guessed or brute forced the password or otherwise obtained credentials. Okay, group policy change. An unexpected system audit policy change at an odd hour suggests an attempt to conceal tracks or disable certain audit logs. This might be a tactic used by an attacker to try to avoid detection. Special privilege assigned. This is usually corresponds to powerful privileges like set bug privilege or set backup privilege. If assigned unexpectedly, it is a red flag that an attacker may have escalated privileges. So here he is adding a couple of privileges to the user. I think this can be done. See backup privilege or debug privilege. I think if we go to the let me go to my local policy GP edit, and we go to a certain section here. Let me go and show you what I mean exactly. We go to the Windows setting, then go to the security setting, then local policies, then user rights assignment. We can see here there is a lot of things. Maybe he is adding himself to let me see here. He can add himself to debug programs, the right to debug programs, the right to shut down from a remote system. These are all rights. He can add himself to one of these backup directories. He can add himself to one of these. So I think this is how he has or this event ID is talking about adding a certain privilege, maybe by this way or maybe by PowerShell script, I don't know, adding himself to this user rights. Then we can go further. Security enabled group policy deleted. An authorization delete of a global group and could disturb normal operations or remove certain protections. Could also be an attacker attempt to remove a group that blocks certain actions or has logging policies attached. Okay, so maybe he want to be a member of a group that doesn't have the logging process group policy attached to it, or this group is blocking him from doing certain actions. Okay, let's continue and see. SID history added. This is very suspicious. Normally, SID is used in account migration or domain consolidations. An attacker might use SID history injection to gain access or privileges from a different domain context, or he can give him privilege rights by changing his SID or through injecting an SID of another privileged user. Okay, we have talked about SID history a lot in this series. Okay, potential indicators of compromise: unauthorized login attempts from privileged accounts, sudden changes to group policy or audit or system audit, use of SID history outside of legitimate migrations. Initial hypothesis: an attacker has compromised the administrator account, okay, or similarly privileged account. They use the compromised account to modify or disable auditing, possibly to hide their tracks. They gained enough privilege to alter group membership or delete groups. This may be using SID injection, SID history injection, or similar advanced techniques to move laterally or escalate privileges. The senior IT evaluation. Good job noting the significance of repeated 4625 and 4624 logins on privileged accounts. These often indicate brute force attempts or stolen credentials. You correctly identified the potential risk of changing the audit policy and recognize the SID history manipulation is a serious red flag. Delete of or deletion of security group is indeed suspicious and suggests destructive or stealthy behavior. Actual findings. Okay, so this is the evaluation and this is the actual findings of the case. In the real incident, attackers has indeed phished a privileged user and obtained the administrator password. So he used a normal account, a privileged account, the administrator, and got his password. Phished, maybe sending him an email, phishing email, and through it he hacked his account. They logged into the DC, modified the audit policy, attempting to hide logs, and injected SID history to escalate privileges across domains. Okay, maybe different domains. Okay, or partner domains, or you have partner domain or sister domains. Okay, the attackers then deleted certain security groups that blocked high-level administrative actions. Okay, tools and techniques used to confirm. So now he is giving us the way to confirm that. PowerShell commandlets, for example, get event log security instant for 660 or 4765 newest 50s to quickly see recent events relating to SID history changes. So we can get this on the screen on the PowerShell session. Then get AD user filter properties SIDs to check for suspicious additions. So he is getting if someone has already done changes to the SID history or adding SID history, and then he see which user has the SID history enabled on him. Okay, so now we can continue and see. We use correlation rules like repeated 4625 events followed by 4624 from the same account on the same host queries. Alert around event 4719 changes to highlight modification to auditing. Nurex Auditor, other audit AD audit tools provided daily baseline reports. Anything outside normal hours triggered an alert. So, overall, analysis matched the core aspects of the real compromise scenario. So, he is saying that the junior IT analyzation is good. Okay, let's go to the contamination phase, eradication and recovery. Now that you have identified signs of compromise, we must contain the incident, eradicate the threat, and recover normal operations. Senior admin, okay, options for contamination. Contaminant. Here are a few possible contaminant actions you could take next. Please select the best immediate approach and justify your decision. Reset the admin password and all non-compromised accounts. Disconnect the affected domain controller from the network to prevent further spread. Enable auditing policies to the highest levels across all domain controllers and being capture all events. Activate an account lockout policy with stricter thresholds across the domain. Which one you should, which option or combination of options do you believe is most appropriate as the next immediate step in contaminant and why? I think the best or the first one is to disable the account. I think disconnecting the domain controller, maybe it's not a good thing if it is a primary domain controller. So I think this can disrupt the operation. If it is an additional domain controller, I think this can be done. But let's see the answer of the junior IT and then the answer of the senior IT. I recommend you immediately reset the administrator password and any other privileged accounts you suspect are compromised. Option 1. All of the domain admin accounts or all of the privileged accounts should have reset their password immediately. We don't know if he has already compromised the administrator account or not. Only if this is only account. This will hopefully cut off the attacker's access and prevent further misuse of stolen credentials. While disconnecting the domain controller from the network might contain the threat, is a drastic measure that could disrupt critical services. So this is the one that I'm talking about. I would also consider enabling more robust auditing options, yes, but the very first step should be to ensure the compromised credentials are invalidated so the attacker cannot continue to use them. As for the senior IT, evaluation of your choice, resetting credentials is indeed a priority since the attacker has the administrator password. Continuing to allow the password to exist is risky. Potential risk: if the attacker already created new admin equivalent accounts or backdoors, changing the administrator password only alone might not eliminate their access. We often combine password reset with through checks for newly created or hidden accounts. So this is good. We need to see the events if there is any newly created users and added to privilege groups. This should be done. And reset all of the admin passwords actually. Uh, What actually happened? In a real case, the incident responders reset the compromised accounts, particularly the built-in administrator, but also scored the environment for any newly created privilege accounts. This is correct. They used PowerShell scripts to search for any newly created user objects, get AD user, filter all properties when created member of. So he will list all of the users in the Active Directory, especially the time of the creation of the user and he is member of. I think maybe something like I think maybe Testomo report or something have a custom PowerShell script to do that. Anyway, so you can see if there is any newly created users. Now, auditing was increased to track any further malicious actions. Further steps: audit your DC thoroughly for suspicious schedule task or startup scripts. This can be done so the hacker maybe attach a schedule task to run a malicious code on the DC. We need to check the schedule tasks or the events related to creation of scheduled tasks. Attackers often drop hidden tasks. Use netstat-an or tools like Sysmon plus SIM correlation to detect any malicious external connections. So checking if there is any remote connection to the server or to the DC from outside. I think also this can be seen from the successful Rogel event or failure Rogel event. It will state the IP, but this will not give us any indicator if the connection is still exist or it's already cut. Okay, so let's go to the next thing here. Next decision point. Here are possible eradication actions you can take next. Scan DC for malicious service or scheduled task. Check GPO setting to ensure no malicious scripts or policies were pushed out. Okay, you can check the configuration of the GPOs, and we have the GPO ZOR. There is a command link that will give you the recently changed GPOs, so we can know if is any group policies changed. And also the content. You have a report to get the content of each group policy, so the GPO Zor will help you to get data for this step very easily. Okay. Look at for this one, you can do a script to do or to get the events concerning creating schedule tasks. Look for pass the hash, pass the ticket indicators, barrage curve process events, so and so in more depth. So here it is trying to see if the administrator account or newly created accounts by the hacker has already authenticated to the domain. Okay, logging into other DCs or other workstations. Rebuild domain control from known backups if we suspect deeper compromise. So if it is a normal DC or a additional domain controller, you can demote it and format it and install the operating system and join it to domain again. Okay. So this is it. Which next step do you choose? Which one of these we will do first and why? First, we will start to scan the DC for malicious services or tasks. If an attacker placed a malicious service or scheduled task, it could persist even after password resets. Simultaneously, I would review GPO setting to ensure no malicious scripts are pushed domain-wide. Rebuilding domain controller is a large, time-consuming step, typically done if you have strong evidence of full compromise. I want to confirm the scope of infiltration by scanning for malicious artifacts first. So he is not recommending to rebuild the domain control unless it's completely damaged or there is a sign for a full compromisation of the domain controller. If you go to the administrator, evaluation of your choice, perfectly logical to start with scanning malicious tasks and GPO changes. Doing so often reveals persistence backdoor or tampered login scripts. Rebuilding the DC is indeed an option of last resort if we find conclusive evidence of deeper compromise. Actual steps taken. So this is the actual step. The IR team use sysinternals, autoruns, and PowerShell. This is some free Microsoft tools. Okay. Get schedule task, get service to detect unauthorized services and task on DC. Okay, I need to see these two tools because I have some of them. Sysinternal, let me see because I have this already installed or I have this package on my. We will discuss it later, by the way. We have a complete series of videos in this playlist to talk about it. If you get the auto login, let me see if we can get something from this one. Agree. Oh, auto login. Okay. Also, here he is trying to make my account to auto login. Just give him the option and he will enable auto login. This is not the case I'm talking about. So what auto login he's talking about here? Let me go and see. So auto runs, not auto login, but this is one good thing actually. You can make a user to auto log automatically by this utility. So let's see auto runs and then try to run as administrator and see what it will get. Agree. So here, as we can see, there is a lot of things here. We can see auto runs. You have this is a lot of things. So these are all of the auto runs on my, or when I boot, all of these services should run or should start automatically. We can see here this is from a lot of perspectives. So for example, you have login. This will work with login. Explorer, we have a couple of things that run automatically. Okay, so I think here we need to see schedule tasks. So as we can see here, there is a lot of things here. So this is very good. We can see a lot of things here. This is the task. So we can have a lot of views or quick view about everything. We have non-DLLs. So I think this is a very good thing. Network providers. What we have here? LSA providers. Printer monitor. So this is all, I think, all started. Auto run. So if we go and about, let's see here. So we have a lot of things actually. Actually, I didn't use uh, this tool before, but I think we can see the schedule tasks from this tool, and we have the auto run or the things that will log in or will start when you log into the machine. It will run automatically. Okay. I think there is a lot of things here. Uh, okay, I think we can have something like a small brief about this utility. Auto run, auto runs sysinternals. Okay, let's see what it's talking about here. Okay, auto runs, the utility which has the most comprehensive knowledge of auto starting locations of any startup monitor, shows you what programs are configured to run during system boot or login. The auto start during boot of your operating system or login of the user account. When you start various built-in Windows when you start various built-in applications like Internet Explorer, so on. So these programs and drivers includes ones in your startup folder, so run once and other registry keys. Autoruns reports, Explorer, shell extensions, toolbars, browser helper, objects, Win login notifications, auto start services, Windows services, and much more. Autorun goes beyond other auto start utilities. Autoruns hide signed Microsoft entries options, help you to zoom in on third-party auto-starting images that have been added to your system, and it has support for looking at the auto-starting images configured or other accounts and okay, I think this is a good utility we can use. I think we need to discuss it later. Okay, so let's continue with the scenario. So he's getting the schedule task and services. Also examine the GPO using the group policy management console and commands like get GPO all to get all the GPOs. But we need to export the configuration, okay? Not giving them, we need to know if there is any changes. So we need to compare GPOs if they are changed or not, or to see the configuration if it is alerted or not. This can be done easily by the GPO ZOR commandlet. It can give you a quick view about a utility or a step like that. Ultimately, they discover a malicious startup script referencing an external command and control C2 server, or DC, maybe DC2 server. Tools and scripts. Send sysinternals autoruns to identify any unexpected startup items. PowerShell commandlet to get schedule tasks. Okay, task name like system, action like unknown website. Okay, and group policy checks validate scripts under user configuration, computer configuration for suspicious.vbs or PS1 entry. Recovery phase. Finally, for recovery, we have a few options. Remove the malicious startup scripts or task, reapply secure GPO setting and monitor heavily. You can restore backup of GPOs if there is any changes done to the GPO. Rebuild the compromised DC from a clean backup if we suspect system level rootkits. Okay, this is a kind of attack. Conduct a forced password reset across all users and service accounts in the domain. Correct. Implement multi-factor authentication MFA for all privileged accounts going forward. Again, what do you purpose as the final step for a clean recovery? And how do you ensure no residual threats remain? Let's see the answer. Junior IT, I would take a layered approach, remove malicious items, schedule task scripts, and confirm no other backdoors exist. Reapply or resecure GPOs to ensure all domain settings are back to a known good configuration. Implement a domain-wide password reset for critical accounts, especially service accounts, because attackers sometimes store hashes or tickets. Okay. Roll out MFA or at least require smart card-based logins for privileged users. This is crucial to prevent password-based attacks in the future. Monitoring logs and using a SIM solution to track unusual events for at least a few weeks post-incident would be also or would also be essential. So let's see the mentor answer. Okay, excellent multi-step plan. Removing malicious artifacts, resecure GPO, and resetting passwords will drastically reduce further risk. Rolling out MFA is a best practice that significantly raises the bar for attackers, especially if combined with robust password policy and network segmentation. Ongoing monitoring is a key. Ski incidents can have second wave attacks if a foothold remains. Real incident outcome. The IR team removed the malicious scripts, reverted GPO changes, forced password resets on all privileged accounts, and implemented a stricter password policy plus partial MFA deployment. Over the next month, they continued to monitor for suspicious login attempts and abnormal behavior, eventually confirming the threat was eradicated. Key takeaways: communication and collaboration across the security teams and domain admins is crucial. Document every step in a playbook so you can repeat processes quickly if a similar incident reoccurs. Always consider the possibility of deeper system compromise and have a well-tested backup and restore strategy for Active Directory. Again, there is a couple of things here he didn't mention. What about the users that have SID history enabled? We need to disable this feature, and he didn't uh, say about the SID. So he's talking about a lot of things, but he missed the SID or the user that have SID history enabled. We need to disable this feature completely and see if any users have this enabled to them. Okay, conclusion and final lessons learned. You showed strong analysis by focusing on suspicious logins, unauthorized GPOs, changes, and advanced AD exploration techniques like SID history injection, incident response methodology, gather events, this is the events, and piece together a narrative of compromise. Contaminate, reset compromised credentials, enable robust auditing, scan for malicious presence, remove malicious scripts, task, backdoors, revert unauthorized GPO modification, recovery, restore clean system state if necessary, enforce strong security controls, and monitor for reinfection. Tools and so use, these are the tools by the end of exercise: critical thinking, decision making, practical application. I think even though it seems to be a good exercise, but he didn't use most of the events that was listed. So there is a couple of events. Maybe he has focused on the high events, maybe. But again, no, he didn't. For example, he took one from the high event SIZ and took some of the medium events. But we need to have more exercises and to have more events included. So if you go to Claude and see his answer, I prefer the answer of Claude. What I have done, I have already give him all of the events and then give him the explanation of these events. As you can see here, this is the text and it is already taken from, this is the text. I have already took this, like this one, and give it to Claude. Okay, and here you go. I ask him to just to inform him that this table, this is the description of the events in the table, and then ask him to provide a scenario or a security case using the events I have given him. So let's see if we can use uh, uh, Claude to evaluate or to create a scenario using these events. So I think, okay, let's, strangely that they have taken some events from here that is similar to what ChatGPT has already used. But let's see the explanation of Claude because it contains a lot of useful information. If you go there and ask him to read all of the answer, so let me go further and see, because the answer is a little bit long, as you all know. So if you go further like that, and again, let me see if we can read this. So I will go further from the beginning.
What's your recommendation for next steps? Copy. Retry. Claude can make mistakes. Please double-check responses. 3.5 Sonnet. I'll help simulate this incident response tabletop exercise. Let's begin. Senior it. Let's start our tabletop exercise. Here's the initial scenario. At 2:30 a.m., our monitoring system detected the following sequence of Windows events. Event ID 4719, high criticality system audit policy was changed. Followed by event ID 4964, high criticality special groups assigned to a new logon. Multiple event ID 4728, member added to security-enabled global group domain admins. Event ID 4765, SID history was added to an account. These events occurred from a domain controller, DC01, within a 10-minute window. What's your initial analysis of these events? Junior it. Okay, let me think about this. The audit policy change, 4719, seems suspicious because it happened at 2:30 a.m. I noticed there were changes to domain admin group membership. The SID history modification could be concerning. The special groups assignment might indicate privilege escalation. My hypothesis is that someone might be trying to gain elevated privileges, but I'm not entirely sure about the significance of all these events together. Senior, good start. Let me provide some feedback and additional context. Strong points in your analysis. You correctly identified the suspicious timing. You noticed the domain admin group modification. You recognize potential privilege escalation. Areas for improvement. Event correlation. These events tell a story. First, the attacker changed audit policies, 4719, likely trying to cover their tracks. Then they used special privileges, 4964. The domain admin group modifications suggest account compromise. SID history modification, 4765, is a known technique for golden ticket attacks. Critical IOCs you missed. The sequence of events matters. The compressed time frame, 10 minutes, indicates automated attack. The combination of audit policy changes with privilege escalation is a classic attack pattern. Let's move to containment options. What immediate actions would you take? Junior it. Based on this information, I would isolate the affected domain controller. Disable the accounts that were modified. Check our backups. Maybe reset the KRB2GT account? Senior it. Good initial response. Let's analyze each action. Your suggested actions. White heavy checkmark isolating DC. Good first step, but consider replication impact, white heavy checkmark disabling modified accounts. Critical for containment, white heavy checkmark checking backups. Important for recovery, white heavy checkmark resetting KRB2GT. Excellent catch. This is crucial for golden ticket attacks. Additional critical actions needed. Enable enhanced auditing immediately, compensating for the changed audit policy. Extract and preserve logs before any changes. Monitor other DCs for similar patterns. Start documenting timeline and affected systems. Would you like to proceed with the eradication phase? Or would you like more details about any of these containment steps? How would you proceed with validating that the attacker no longer has access?
So here I think he's giving him something to, I'm asking him to arrange the events, asking him to arrange these events, okay, in a table, okay, so I can see them in a good view. If we go there, let me show you here, complete event monitoring. Here we can see, here is the events. You can see there is about 381 events. You see a lot of things. You can see the high events. Here you go, these are the high events which he considers suspicious. Okay, one of them is the SID history added to an account. System audit policy is changed. Okay, also this is in our scenario. So we have two of the high signs of a compromisation. for Active Directory compromisation. We have 4719, we have SID history added, we have special groups have been assigned to a new login. So we have a couple of things. So he's focusing upon the high events. We have medium events. Okay, as we can see here, we have medium high. Audit log was cleared. Okay, medium, we have a couple of events actually. I think one of them is 4625 maybe. No, it's not 4625. So in the law, we will see that 4625 and 4624 is considered low events. An account was successfully logged in, an account failed to log in. Anyway, so let's continue and with our case scenario. If we go and ask it to continue with the explanation.
Great. Now let's continue with our incident response tabletop exercise using this comprehensive event reference. Senior it. Let's resume our scenario. To recap, at 2:30 a.m., we detected event ID 4719, high system audit policy changed. Event ID 4964, high special groups assigned to new logon. Multiple event ID 4728, member added to domain admins. Event ID 4765, high SID history added to an account. After your initial containment steps, we need to investigate further. Additional logs show event ID 4776, failed credential validation attempts from multiple workstations. Event ID 4624, successful logons from unusual locations. Event ID 4688, several new processes created with unusual command lines. Using our reference table, how would you prioritize investigation of these new events? What additional event IDs would you specifically look for to confirm lateral movement? Junior it. Let me check these against our reference table. For prioritization, event ID 4776 is about domain controller credential validation, could indicate brute force. Event ID 4624 is about successful logons with unusual locations. This is concerning. Event ID 4688 about new processes might show attack tools being used. For lateral movement, maybe I should look for more logon events, network share access attempts, process creation on other systems, but I'm not entirely sure which specific event IDs to monitor for these. Senior it, good start. Let me help refine your investigation strategy using our reference table. Key events for lateral movement detection. Authentication pattern. Event ID 4768, low Kerberos TGT requested. Event ID 4769, low Kerberos service ticket requested. Event ID 4771, low Kerberos pre-authentication, failed. These help establish authentication patterns across systems. Access patterns. Event ID 5140, low network share access. Event ID 4648, low explicit credential logon attempts. Event ID 4624, low successful logon types. Critical changes. Event ID 4799, add scheduled task. Event ID 4657, registry modifications. Event ID 4688, process creation with command line. For your investigation, I recommend creating this search pattern. PowerShell. Copy. Get twin event filter hashtable at log name equals security ID equals at 4768, 4769, 4771, 5140, 4648, 4624, 4799, 4657, 4688. Start time sad face get date. Add hours -24. What's your next step in the investigation based on these events? Copy. Retry. Oh. Simulate the answer. Junior it. Looking at these event IDs and their significance, I would first analyze the authentication patterns. PowerShell. Copy. Hashtag check for authentication anomalies in the last 24 hours. When event filter hashtable at log name equals security ID equals at 4768, 4769, 4771. Start time sad face get date. Add hours, -24. Group object property, ID format table count name. Looking for geographical patterns and logons since we saw unusual locations. PowerShell. Copy. Get when event filter hashable at log name equals security. ID equals 4624, where object $_ properties 8. Value. Not like asterisk local asterisk. Select time created, properties 8. Check for remote scheduled tasks and registry modifications. PowerShell. Copy. Get when event filter hashable at log name equals security. ID equals at 4799, 4657. My hypothesis is we might be dealing with initial compromise through brute force, 4,776 events. Privilege escalation, 4,728, 4,765 events. Potential lateral movement using stolen credentials. Possible persistence through scheduled tasks. Senior excellent analysis. A few critical additions. For authentication patterns, also include PowerShell. Copy. Hashtag look for past the hash attacks get twin event filter hashable at log name equals security. ID equals 4624, where object $_ properties 10, value. EQ3 hashtag NTLM authentications. For process creation, 4688, specifically look for PowerShell. Copy. Get when event filter hashable at log name equals security. ID equals 4688, where object $_ properties 8. Value like asterisk Mimi Cats asterisk or $_ properties 8. Value like asterisk sexsec asterisk or $_ properties 8. Value like asterisk PowerShell.exe inc asterisk. Timeline correlation. PowerShell. Copy. $start time equals get date. Add hours -24. $critical events equals get when event filter hashable at log name equals security. ID equals at 4624, 4728, 4765, 4776, 4688. Start time equals $start time. Select object time created. ID message. Your analysis shows good understanding of attack chain reconstruction, evidence of lateral movement, potential persistence mechanisms. Next steps should include looking for additional compromised accounts, checking for persistence mechanisms, scheduled tasks, services, analyzing network connections from compromised systems, preparing for remediation. Would you like to proceed with any of these areas? Junior Yes, I'd like to focus on checking for persistence mechanisms first. Based on our event table, I'll look for scheduled task events. PowerShell. Copy. Get when event filter hashable at log name equals security. ID equals at 4698, 4699, 4700, 4701, 4702. Hashtag task created, deleted, enabled, disabled, updated. Service installation events. PowerShell. Copy. Get when event filter hashable at log name equals security. ID equals 4697 hashtag service installation. Registry modifications. PowerShell. Copy. Get when event filter hashable at log name equals security. ID equals 4657 where object $_ properties 2. Value like asterisk run asterisk or $_ properties 2. Value like asterisk run once asterisk. Is this a good approach for finding persistence mechanisms? Senior, good start. Let me enhance your persistence hunting approach. Expand scheduled task monitoring. PowerShell. Copy. $task events equals get twin event filter hashable at log name equals security. ID equals at 4698, 4699, 4700, 4701, 4702. Select object time created at name equals task name. Expression equals $_ properties 5. Value at name equals client process ID. Expression equals $_ properties 4. Value at name equals task content. Expression equals $_ properties 7. Value for services Also check for modifications. PowerShell. Copy. $service events equals at hashtag new service installation get twin event filter hashable at log name equals security. ID equals 4697, hashtag service. Start type changes get twin event filter hashable at log name equals system. ID equals 7040. Advanced registry monitoring. PowerShell. Copy. $registry events equals get twin event filter hashable at log name equals security. ID equals 4657, where object $_. Properties 2. Value match. Run 1 schedule startup user init app init service DLL when log on. Also look for group policy modifications. PowerShell. Copy. Get when event filter hashable at log name equals security. ID equals at 4719 5136. Where object $_. Properties 2. Value, like *GP*. Remember, check both system and user context persistence. Look for WMI persistence, event ID 5861. Monitor for changes to startup folders. Check for new COM objects, event ID 4657 and CLSID paths. Would you like to proceed with analyzing any suspicious persistence mechanisms we find? Copy. Retry. Oh, yes. Senior it. Perfect. Let's analyze some suspicious findings from our persistence hunt. Consider these events we discovered. Scheduled task creation, event ID 4698. XML. Copy. Task name, \Microsoft \Windows \update sync command. PowerShell.exe. inkjb.
So we'll continue, guys, up for a moment. With God will, just wait for a moment. So let's continue, guys.
JADBZ. BQBPAG for a run as. System created. 2:45 a.m. Registry modification. Event ID 4657. Copy. Key. HKLM \software \Microsoft \Windows \current version \run value. Security update data. C:\Windows \temp \SVC host .exe white space -k white space nets VCS. Service installation, event ID 4697. Copy. Service name, WinUpdate Manager path. C:\Windows \system 32 \woo psvc.exe start type. Auto_start account name. Local system. These were all created within 30 minutes of our initial compromise indicators. How would you analyze these persistence mechanisms and what's concerning about them? Junior it. Let me try to analyze these. For the scheduled task, the name tries to look legitimate by using update sync. It's using encoded PowerShell, which is suspicious. Created at 2:45 a.m. and running as system. High privileges at odd hours. Should definitely decode that base 64 command. The registry run key. Security update name trying to look legitimate. Running from temp folder is very suspicious. Using scos.exe name, but from wrong location. Real scos.exe shouldn't be in temp folder. Service installation. Again, trying to look like Windows Update. Suspicious binary name, whoops.exe. Running as local system. Highest privileges. Auto start means it survives reboots. Should we capture these files for analysis? Stop these services /tasks? Check for similar patterns on other systems? Senior it. Excellent analysis. Let's follow up systematically. Initial evidence collection. PowerShell. Copy. Hashtag capture file hashes and metadata get file hash C. \Windows \temp \coast.exe get file hash C. \Windows \system 32 \whoops.exe. Hashtag decode PowerShell command system. Text encoding : UTF-8.get string system. Convert : from base 64 string JADP. BQBPAG 4A. Hashtag export scheduled task definition export scheduled task name. \Microsoft \Windows \update sync. Out file. task_definition.xml. Look for related activity. PowerShell. Copy. Hashtag check for network connections from these processes. Get net TCP connection, where object $_ the owning process. In get process names, coast, whoops, select object expand property ID. Hashtag look for similar tasks across domain invoke command computer name. Get computer filter asterisk. Name get scheduled task where object task name, like asterisk update asterisk. Recommended containment actions. Disable but don't delete the scheduled task. Preserve evidence. Stop and disable the service. Block the registry run key using group policy. Capture memory dumps of suspicious processes. Before we execute these actions, we should document current state. Get incident response team approval. Have backup containment plans ready. How would you prioritize these actions? And what backup containment plans would you prepare? Let me know which aspect you'd like to explore further. Copy. Retry. Oh, yes. Senior it. All right, let's prioritize these actions and create our backup containment plans. Priority list. Immediate, next 1 hour. PowerShell. Copy. Hashtag first, document current state get service.
I will stop, guys, and come back. So let's continue, guys, the answer.
State get service win update manager export CSV service underscore state.csv get scheduled task name /Microsoft /Windows /update sync export clicksiml task underscore state.xml get item HKLM /software /Microsoft /Windows /current version /run export clicksiml registry underscore state.xml. Hashtag second, stop active threat stop service, win update manager, disable scheduled task name, /Microsoft /Windows /update sync. Short term, next 4 hours. PowerShell. Copy. Hashtag network containment of affected systems $affected systems equals at DC01, EXCHSRV, files for each $system and $affected systems. Hashtag implement restrictive firewall rules invoke command computer name $system NewNet firewall rule display name IR block direction outbound action block enabled true hashtag exclude specific IPs for IR tools and DC communication set net firewall rule display name IR block remote address 10.0.0.10 10.0.0.11 backup containment plans PowerShell copy hashtag plan B. If malware persists $emergency actions equals hashtag force log off all users query session for each object log off $_ session hashtag stop non-essential services get service where object $_ status EQ running in $_ start type EQ automatic where object $_ name not match critical service required service stop service force hashtag disable network adapters as last resort get net adapter disable net adapter confirm. $false, hashtag plan C. Domain isolation if compromise spreads $domain isolation equals, hashtag identify. Critical DC's $primary DC equals DC01. Hashtag implement strict IPsec rules in full display name, IR secure DC. Policy block, local address $primary DC. Junior it. I understand the priorities, but I have some questions. Won't stopping services and tasks alert the attacker? Should we block network access before stopping services? What about users who need access during containment? Senior it. Excellent questions. Let's address each. Attacker alerting. PowerShell. Copy. Hashtag instead of stopping, we can first monitor for C2 start. Net event session. Name, IR monitor, add net event packet capture provider session name. IR monitor, start net event session name, IR monitor. Hashtag monitor process creation from our suspicious services get twin event filter hashtable at log name equals security ID equals 4688 where object. $_ properties 5. Value. Match coast.exe whoops.exe. Network containment strategy. PowerShell. Copy. Hashtag staged approach hashtag stage 1. Monitor net firewall rule display name IR monitor. Action allow. Enable true. Audit true hashtag stage 2. Selective block net firewall rule display name IR restrict. Action block. Remote address internet. Enable false hashtag stage 3. Full block. emergency only, NewNet firewall rule display name IR emergency, action block, enable false. User access management. PowerShell. Copy. Hashtag create emergency access group nudity group name IR emergency access. Group scope global add a group member identity IR emergency access. Members critical.user1. Critical.user2 hashtag configure emergency access GPO $GPO equals new GPO name IR emergency access. Set GP permission name IR emergency access. Target name IR emergency access. Target type group permission level GPO read. Would you like to proceed with the staged containment approach? Set up the monitoring infrastructure first. Start with user access management. Which area should we tackle first? Copy. Retry. Oh. Begin tackling in order. Senior, good choice. Let's execute our containment strategy in order. Phase 1, documentation and initial monitoring. PowerShell. Copy. Number 1. Create incident directory $incident equals IR- get date format YY1DDHM. New item type directory path C /IR $incident D set location C /IR $incident hashtag 2. Document current state write output equals initial state documentation started. Get date equals $incident log txt. Hashtag document services get service win update manager export CSV service underscore state .csv write output services documented $incident ID log .txt. Hashtag document tasks get scheduled task name /Microsoft /Windows /update sync export clicksummel task underscore state .xml write output scheduled tasks documented $incident log .txt. Hashtag document registry get item HKLM /software /Microsoft /Windows /current version / run export clicksummel registry underscore state .xml write output registry state documented $incident ID log .txt. Let's verify the documentation before proceeding. What do you see in these exports? Junior, looking at the exports. The service is currently running. The scheduled task shows our suspicious PowerShell command. The registry run key is still present. Should we proceed with setting up monitoring now? Senior, yes, let's set up monitoring before making any changes. PowerShell. Copy. Number 1. Set up network monitoring NetNet event session name IR $incident ID. Capture mode save to file, local file path C /IR $incident ID /network underscore captured. It'll add net event packet capture provider session name IR $incident ID add net event provider name Microsoft Windows PowerShell. Session name IR $incident ID. Hashtag 2. Enhanced security logging WebTotal SL security / true WebTotal SL Microsoft Windows PowerShell / operational / E. True. Number 3. Set up process monitoring $monitor script equals at start transcript. Path C : IR $incident ID process underscore monitor at log get win event. Filter hashable at log name equals security ID equals 4688. Max events 1 where object $_ properties 5 value match. Scos.exe whoops.exe PowerShell.exe. Format list at $monitor script out file /process underscore monitor .ps1. Hashtag start monitoring start net event session name IR $incident ID start job file path /process underscore monitor .ps1. Monitoring is now active. Should we proceed with the containment actions? Junior, yes, let's proceed with containment. We have our monitoring in place to see any reaction from the attacker. Senior, executing containment. PowerShell. Copy. Number 1. Begin with the scheduled task write output equals starting containment phase $get date equals $incident ID log.txt. Hashtag disable scheduled task name /Microsoft /Windows /update sync. Write output scheduled task disabled $incident ID log.txt hashtag 2. Handle the service set service name win update manager. Startup type disabled stop service name win update manager. Force write output service disabled and stopped $incidentIDlog.txt hashtag 3. Block registry run key execution $edge path equals HKLM. /software /Microsoft /Windows /current version /run $backup value equals get item property path $edge path name security update. Security update set item property path $edge path name security update backup value $backup value remove item property path $edge path name security update write output registry run key handled $incidentIDlog.txt hashtag 4. Check for immediate reactions get job, receive job get twin event filter hashable at log name equals security. ID equals 4688. Max events 10. Let's monitor for a few minutes. What should we watch for in the logs? Would you like to proceed with network containment next? Copy. Retry. Oh, yes. Senior it. Proceeding with network containment. Let's implement this in stages to avoid disrupting legitimate business traffic. PowerShell. Copy. Hashtag stage 1. Implement monitoring rules write output equals starting network containment. $get date equals $incidentIDlog.txt. Hashtag create monitoring rules for suspicious processes $suspicious processes equals at scost.exe, whoops.exe. For each $process and $suspicious processes. NewNet firewall rule display name IR monitor $process. Program C:\Windows \temp $$ process. Action allow. Direction outbound. Enabled true. Audit true write output created monitoring rule for $process $incident ID. Log.txt. Hashtag stage 2. Selective blocking $malicious IPs equals getNet TP connection where object $_ to owning process. In get process named $suspicious processes. .id select object expand property remote address for each $IP and $malicious IPs. NewNet firewall rule display name IR block $IP. Remote address $IP. Direction outbound action block. Enabled true write output block suspicious IP. $IP. $incidentIDlog.txt. Junior it. I see the rules are in place. Should we verify if this is affecting legitimate traffic? Senior it. Yes, let's verify impact and set up monitoring. PowerShell. Copy. Hashtag monitor for blocked connections get twin event filter hashable at log name equals security ID equals 5157 hashtag blocked connections. Max events 20 hashtag check critical service connectivity $critical services equals at domain controllers, DNS servers, authentication services, for each $service and $critical services. Test net connection computer name $service port 445 write output connectivity test for $service completed $incidentIDlog.txt. Hashtag setup alerts for blocked legitimate traffic $alert script equals at get. Win event. Filter hashable at log name equals security ID equals 5157. Max events 10 where object $_ properties 5 value not match coast whoops export CSV blocked _legitimate.csv append a $alert script out file /monitor blocked.ps1. Do you see any legitimate traffic being blocked? Also, should we proceed with implementing the emergency blocking rules disabled by default? Junior it. The connectivity tests look good for critical services. Yes, let's set up the emergency rules but leave them disabled. Senior it. Setting up emergency rules. PowerShell. Copy. Hashtag create emergency lockdown rules disabled by default. Write output equals creating emergency rules. $get date equals $incidentIDlog.txt. Hashtag full network isolation rule NewNet firewall rule display name IR emergency full block. Direction outbound action block enabled false. Priority 1 hashtag allow only IR team IPs $IR to MyPs equals at 10.0.0.10, 10.0.0.11. NewNet firewall rule display name IR emergency allow IR. Direction outbound action allow remote address $IR to MyPs enabled false. Priority 0 write output emergency rules created disabled. $incidentIDlog.txt. Hashtag document all firewall rules get net firewall rule where object display name. like IR *** export CSV firewall rules.csv. Should we continue monitoring for a period? Move to user access management? Begin investigating other potentially compromised systems? Which would you prioritize next? Copy. Retry. Oh. Move to user access management. Senior, good choice. Let's manage user access to maintain security while ensuring critical business functions can continue. PowerShell. Copy. Number 1. First document current privileged access right output == starting user access management. $get date $incident ID log.txt. Hashtag document current admin group members key group member domain admins export CSV pre_incident_performance.csv get ID group member enterprise admins export CSV pre_incident_enterprise admins.csv get ID group member schema admins export CSV pre_incident_schema_admins.csv hashtag 2. Create emergency access group and GE group name IR emergency access. Group scope global, description incident response, emergency access group, hashtag create emergency GPO $GPO name equals IR emergency access $. Get date format, MMDDHM. New GPO name, $GPO name, hashtag 3. Configure emergency access permissions $emergency GPO equals at hashtag allow logon locally computer configuration /Windows settings /security settings /local policies /user rights assignment. Allow log on locally equals IR emergency access. Hashtag allow RDP access. Computer configuration /Windows settings /security settings /local policies /user rights assignment. Allow log on through remote desktop services equals IR emergency access. At $emergency GPO out file emergency settings.txt. Junior it. What about the regular users? Should we disable all other access? Senior it. Let's implement tiered access control. PowerShell. Copy. Number 1. Create tiered access groups $tier groups equals at IR. Tier 0, critical, hashtag mission critical systems / users IR. Tier 1, important, hashtag important, but not critical, IR. Tier 2, standard, hashtag standard users. For each, $group and $tier groups. New ID group name, $group scope, global write output created group, $group. $incident ID log.txt. Hashtag 2. Categorize and move users, hashtag critical users, minimal set. Added a group member identity IR, Tier 0 critical, members CEO, CFO, CIO, IR team, hashtag department heads, and key personnel $important users equals get a user filter title, like * director *, or title, like * manager *. Add AD group member identity, IR, Tier 1 important, members $important users hashtag 3. Implement restrictions $restriction script equals at hashtag disable inactive users search AD account. Account inactive. Timespan 30.00:00:00 disable AD account. Hashtag remove all users from admin groups except emergency access $admin groups equals domain admins, enterprise admins, schema admins for each. $group and $admin groups. Get AD group member $group where object $_ name, not like IR ***. Remove AD group member $group. Members $_ confirm. $false at $restriction script out file implement _restrictions.ps1. Before we execute these changes, should we notify users about the access changes? Do we need to set up a help desk process for access requests? How long should these restrictions remain in place? What would you recommend? Copy. Retry. Oh. Simulate the answer. Junior it. Let me think through this. For user notification, we should create a tiered communication plan. PowerShell. Copy. $notification groups equals at Tier 0 equals at users equals get ID group member IR. Tier 0, critical message equals critical system access maintained. Use emergency credentials. Tier 1 inch equals at users equals get ID group member IR. Tier 1, important message equals limited system access. Contact IR team for escalation. Tier 2 inch equals at Users equals get user filter enabled. EQ true. Message equals system access restricted during security incident. Help desk process. Create an emergency ticket category. Set up IR team approval workflow. Document verification procedures. Duration. Initial restriction, 48 hours. Review every 12 hours. Base extensions on threat indicators. Senior, good thinking. Let's implement this plan. PowerShell. Copy. Number 1. Set up help desk emergency process $help desk process equals at NUID group. Name IR help desk approvers. Group scope global add AD group member. Identity IR help desk approvers. Members get AD group member IR team. Hashtag create approval workflow $approval workflow equals perum $requester $access level. Hashtag log request $request equals at. Timestamp equals get date requester equals $requester access level equals $access level status equals pending export CSV access _ request.csv. Append hashtag notify approvers $approvers equals get AD group member IR help desk approvers. Hashtag notification logic here. Add $help desk process out file /help desk process.ps1. Hashtag 2. Set up monitoring for access changes $access monitoring equals at. Hashtag monitor admin group changes $admin groups equals domain admins, enterprise admins, schema admins for each $group and $admin groups. Get when event. Filter hashable at log name equals security. ID equals 4728, 4732. 4756 hashtag group member added. Where object $_ properties 2. Value. EQ $group. Add $access monitoring out file /monitor _ access.ps1 start job file path /monitor _ access.ps1 hashtag 3. Create review schedule $review schedule equals new scheduled task execute PowerShell.exe argument file /access _ review.ps1. Trigger new scheduled task trigger once at get date repetition interval new time span hours 12. Implementation timeline. Hour 0 to 1. Deploy notification system. Hour 1 to 2. Implement help desk process. Hour 2 to 3. Deploy access restrictions. Hour 3 to 4. First access review. Should we proceed with this implementation schedule? Junior it. Yes, but I have concerns. What if a critical user gets locked out after hours? How do we verify legitimate emergency access requests? Should we have backup communication channels? Senior it. Excellent concerns. Let's address each. After hours emergency access. PowerShell. Copy. Hashtag create breakglass account $breakglass account equals new AD username, IR emergency access. Description emergency use only, fully audited. Password never expires $true. Account not delegated $true. Hashtag set up extensive auditing A group member identity. Domain admins. Members $breakglass account set audit rule identity $breakglass account audit flag. All hashtag alert on use $breakglass alert equals get when event filter hashable at log name equals security. ID equals 4624 hashtag logon event where object $_. Properties 5. Value. EQ IR emergency access. Verification process. PowerShell. Copy. Hashtag two-factor verification require $verification process equals at phone equals get a user filter asterisk. Properties mobile phone select object name. Mobile phone manager equals get a user filter asterisk. Properties manager select object name. Manager department equals get a user filter asterisk. Properties department select object name. Department. Hashtag document verification steps $verification steps equals at 1. Caller ID verification 2. Personal information verification 3. Manager confirmation 4. Incident ticket creation 5. Access grant with time limitation at. Backup communication. PowerShell. Copy. Hashtag set up alternate notification methods $backup comms equals at SMS equals get user filter asterisk. Properties mobile phone personal email equals get a user filter asterisk. Properties other mailbox department contacts equals get a user filter asterisk. Properties manager. Hashtag create emergency contact list $emergency contacts equals at. IR team equals IR-team-24x7 at company.com. Help desk equals emergency-support at company.com. Security team equals security-on-call at company.com. Shall we implement these additional safeguards before proceeding with the main plan? Copy. Retry. Oh, yes. Senior it. Let's implement these safeguards systematically. PowerShell. Copy. Number 1. Implement break glass account setup write output equals implementing emergency safeguards. Get date equals $incident ID log.txt hashtag create break glass account with high security break glass password equals system web security membership generate password 24 $5 break glass creds equals at name equals IR emergency break glass account password equals convert to secure string $break glass pass plain text force description equals emergency use only all actions logged enabled equals $true password never expires equals $true account not delegated equals $true need user at break glass creds hashtag set up extensive auditing for break glass $audit flags equals at identity equals IR emergency break glass audit flags equals success failure inheritance type equals all access mask equals generic all add data object audit rule add audit flags junior it the break glass account is set up. Should we test it before proceeding? Senior it. Yes, let's validate the break glass setup. PowerShell. Copy. Hashtag test break glass account auditing write output equals testing break glass configuration. Get date equals $incident ID log.txt hashtag verify audit settings $audit test equals at hashtag test authentication $test login equals test authentication. User IR emergency break glass. Password $break glass password write output auth test result. $test login. Hashtag verify audit logging $break glass events equals get when event. Filter hashable at log name equals security. ID equals 4624. 4634 hashtag logon / log off events where object $_. Properties 5. Value EQ IR emergency break glass. Add $audit test out file the /break _glass _test.ps1. Let's now set up the verification system. PowerShell. Copy. Number 2. Implement verification system $verification system equals at hashtag create verification database $verification DB equals at path equals C:/ IR $$ incident ID /verification CSV content equals at user ID last verified verification method approved by set content path $verification DB path value $verification DB content hashtag create verification functions function test user identity perum $user $verification data hashtag check multiple factors $factors equals at $user $employee ID $user department $user manager $user office return $factors count G3 a function new verification request perum $user $request type $request equals PS custom object at timestamp equals get date user ID equals $user SAM account name request type equals $request type status equals pending verification required equals to export CSV path C:/ IR $incident ID /verification _request.csv append at $verification system out file verification system .ps1inch. Should we test the verification system with a sample request? Junior it. Yes, let's run a test verification. PowerShell. Copy. Hashtag test verification process $test user equals get user identity test.user. Properties * new verification request user $test user request type emergency access. Senior good. Now, let's implement the backup communication system. PowerShell. Copy. Number 3. Set up backup communication channels $backup com setup equals at hashtag create emergency contact groups $emergency groups equals at name equals IR. Emergency contacts tier 0 members equals get ID group member. IR. Tier 0 critical contact method equals SMS, email, phone. And name equals IR. Emergency contacts tier 1. Members equals GetID group member, IR, tier 1. Important contact method equals email, phone. For each $group and $emergency groups. New AD group. Name $group. Name. Group scope, global A group member. Identity $group. Name, members $group. Members hashtag document contact methods $group export CSV emergency underscore contacts.csv. Append hashtag setup monitoring for communication channels star transcript. Path C : /IR $$ incident ID /comms underscore monitor .log write output. Emergency communication channels established. Get date. At $backup comms setup out file that /backup underscore comms underscore setup.ps1. All safeguards are now in place. Should we run a full test of all systems? Proceed with the main access management plan? Document the emergency procedures? What's your recommendation? Copy. Retry. Oh. Simulate the answer. Junior it. I recommend we run a full test first, then document before implementing. Here's my suggested approach. Test plan. PowerShell. Copy. Hashtag create test scenarios $test scenarios equals at break glass equals hashtag test emergency access write output equals testing break glass access equals test underscore results.log tried hashtag attempt login $test login equals test authentication user IR emergency break glass hashtag check audit logs $audit entries equals get twin event filter hashtable at log name equals security ID equals 4624 max events 1 write output break glass test success test underscore results.log catch write output break glass test failed $_ test underscore results.log verification equals hashtag test verification process write output equals testing verification system equals test underscore results.log $test user equals get user identity $v username new verification request user $test user request type test communication equals hashtag test backup communication write output equals testing communication channels equals test underscore results.log for each $group and GetID group filter name like IR emergency contacts asterisk GetID group member $group export CSV test underscore communication underscore list.csv. Append. Senior it. Good approach. Let's execute the tests and add monitoring. PowerShell. Copy. Hashtag execute tests with monitoring $test execution equals start transcript path C /IR $incident ID full underscore test.log hashtag 1. Break glass test with monitoring write output starting break glass tests $get date $break glass watch equals start job script block get twin event filter hashable at log name equals security ID equals at 4624 4634 4648 max events 10 hashtag 2. Verification system test write output starting verification tests $get date $verification watch equals start job script block get content C /IR $incident ID verification underscore request.csv. Wait hashtag 3. Communication test write output starting communication tests $get date $comms watch equals start job script block get content C /IR $incident ID comms underscore monitor.log. Wait hashtag run all test scenarios for each $test and $test scenarios keys and $test scenarios $test. Start sleep seconds 5 hashtag allow time for logging hashtag collect results get job receive job stop transcript hashtag execute test suite and $test execution. Junior it. Tests are running. I see some results coming in. Should we document the procedures while we wait? Senior it. Yes, let's document while monitoring the tests. PowerShell. Copy. Hashtag create emergency procedures documentation $emergency docs equals at hashtag emergency access procedures last updated $get date incident ID $incident ID hashtag break glass access 1 verification required 2 IR team members manager approval incident ticket number hashtag verification process 1 identity confirmation employee ID department manager physical location hashtag communication channels 1 primary email 2 secondary SMS 3 Tertiary. Phone hashtag emergency contacts dollar. Get content emergency underscore contacts to CSV. Convert from CSV format table out string. Hashtag audit requirements 1. All access log 2. Screen recording required 3. Post-incident review mandatory at $emergency docs out file C. /IR $incident /emergency underscore procedures.md. Based on the test results and documentation, should we make any adjustments to the procedures? Proceed with implementing the main access management plan? Conduct a final review with the IR team? What do you think is the best next step? Copy. Retry. Oh. Simulate the answer. Junior it. After reviewing the test results, I think we should make a few adjustments based on test findings. PowerShell. Copy. Hashtag log review of test results write output equals test results analysis. $get date equals $incident ID log.txt $test results equals get content test underscore results log $adjustments equals at break glass equals hashtag add second verification steps ID account control identity. IR emergency break glass. Smart card log unrequired $true write output added smart card requirement to break glass account. $incident ID log.txt verification equals hashtag reduce verification time $verification timeout equals new time span minutes 15 write output. Set verification timeout to 15 minutes. $incident ID log.txt communication equals hashtag add backup SMS gateway write output added backup SMS gateway configuration. $incident ID log.txt. Then do a final IR team review before full implementation. Senior it. Good analysis. Let's conduct the IR team review. PowerShell. Copy. Hashtag prepare IR team review package $review package equals at test results equals get content test underscore results.log procedures equals get content emergency underscore procedures.md access logs equals get twin event filter hashable at log name equals security ID equals at 4624, 4634, 4648. Max events 50 hashtag document review findings $review session equals at IR team review findings. 1. Access control. Break glass account functioning properly. Smart card requirement added. Audit logging confirmed 2. Verification system. Response time improved to 15 minutes. Multiple verification methods working. Manager approval workflow tested 3. Communication. All channels tested successfully. Backup SMS gateway configured. Emergency contact list verified recommendations. 1. Proceed with implementation 2. Schedule hourly reviews for first 24 hours 3. Maintain backup communication channels active at $review session out file C. /IR $incident ID /IR underscore review.txt. Should we proceed with the main implementation now? Senior it. Yes, but let's do it in stages. PowerShell. Copy. Hashtag stage 1. Initial access changes $implementation equals at stage 1 equals hashtag apply new access controls for each $group and $tier groups. Set a group identity $group description. IR controlled access group write output configured $group $incident ID log.txt. Stage 2 equals hashtag enable monitoring start job file path. /monitor underscore access .ps1 write output access monitoring enabled. $incident ID log.txt. Stage 3 equals hashtag activate emergency procedures copy item emergency underscore procedures.md. Destination / helpdesk / procedures / write output emergency procedures published $incident ID log.txt. Hashtag execute staged implementation for each $stage and $implementation. Keys. Write output executing $stage, $get date, $incident log.txt, and $implementation, $stage. Start sleep seconds 30 hashtag allow for replication. Do you want to verify each stage before proceeding to the next? Copy. Retry. Oh, yes. Junior it. Yes, let's verify each stage. I'll check stage 1 first. PowerShell. Copy. Hashtag verify stage 1. Access controls write output equals stage 1 verification. Get date equals $incidentIDlog.txt. Hashtag check tier groups configuration verify stage 1 equals at group check equals get ID group filter name. Like IR tier asterisk. Properties description member check equals for each. $group in get ID group filter name. Like IR tier asterisk. Get ID group member $group access check equals get a user filter asterisk. Properties member of where object $member of. Match IR tier. For each. $check and $verify stage 1 values. If $check. Write output check passed $incidentIDlog.txt. Else write output check failed $incidentIDlog.txt break. Senior good. Let's review stage 1 results and proceed with stage 2 verification. PowerShell. Copy. Hashtag verify stage 2. Monitoring write output equals stage 2 verification. Get date equals $incidentIDlog.txt. Hashtag check monitoring jobs monitoring checks equals at job status equals get job where object name. Like asterisk monitor asterisk log status equals get twin event filter hashable at log name equals. Security ID equals at 4728 4732 4756. Hashtag group membership changes. Max events 1 alert system equals test path C. /IR $incident ID /monitor access.ps1. For each, $check and $monitoring checks.get enumerator. Write output. Checking $check. Key $check. Value $incident ID log.txt. Junior it. Stage 2 looks good. Should we verify stage 3? PowerShell. Copy. Hashtag verify stage 3. Emergency procedures write output equals stage 3 verification. Get date equals $incident ID log.txt. Hashtag verify emergency procedures deployment $emergency checks equals at procedures equals test path. // procedures emergency procedures.md contacts equals test path emergency contacts.csv access control equals $break glass equals get a user IR emergency break glass properties asterisk $break glass enabled and $break glass smart card logon required for each $check in $emergency checks get enumerator $result equals if $check value is script block and $check value of else $check value will write output $check key $result $incident ID log.txt. Senior it. All stages appear to be verified. Let's do one final comprehensive check. PowerShell. Copy. Hashtag final verification of all systems $final check equals at number 1. Access control check $access control equals get ID group. Filter name like IR dash asterisk for each object D group member $_ select object and N equals group equals $_ name and number 2. Monitoring system check $monitoring equals get job where object $_ name like asterisk monitor asterisk select object name state number 3. Emergency systems check $emergency equals at break glass equals GUI user IR emergency break glass properties enabled smart card logon required procedures equals get item / help desk / procedures / emergency procedures.md contacts equals import CSV emergency contacts.csv. Hashtag export verification results $results equals at access control equals $access control monitoring equals $monitoring emergency equals $emergency $results export clicksummel C:\IR $$ incident ID /final verification .xml at $final check outfile /final check .ps1 hashtag execute final check /final check .ps1. Should we proceed with activating the system for production use? Or do you see any areas that need adjustment? Copy. Retry. Oh. Simulate the answer. Junior it. Looking at the final verification results. Access control results. PowerShell. Copy. Hashtag review access control status $access results equals import ClickSimulC. /IR $instant ID final underscore verification dot XML write output found issue with tier 1 group membership overlap. Some users appear in multiple tiers. $access results to access control group object name where object count. GT1 select object expand property name hashtag recommend fix $fix access equals at hashtag remove duplicate memberships $duplicate users equals $access results access control group object name where object count. GT1 select object expand property name for each $user and $duplicate users. Hashtag keep highest tier remove from lower tiers remove ID group member identity IR tier 2 standard members $user confirm $false at monitoring status PowerShell copy hashtag check monitoring jobsif $access results monitoring where object state running write output some monitoring jobs not running $access results monitoring where object state any running format table emergency systems PowerShell copy hashtag verify emergency contact completeness $missing contacts equals $access results emergency contacts where object not $mobile and $email write output found $missing contacts measure object count contacts with missing information. Senior it good catch on those issues. Let's address them before activation. PowerShell copy number 1 fix group memberships $group fix equals hashtag get all IR groups $IR groups equals get ID group filter name like IR tier asterisk hashtag process each user for each $user and get user filter asterisk $user groups equals $user the member of where object $match IR tier if $user groups measure object count GT1 hashtag keep highest tier only $highest tier equals $user groups sort object select object first $1 lower tiers equals $user groups where object $highest tier for each $group and $lower tiers remove ID group member identity $group members $user confirm $false write output remove $user name from $group $instant ID log.txt hashtag 2 restart monitoring monitoring fix equals get job where object state running remove job start job file path /monitor underscore access ps1 write output restarted monitoring jobs get date instant ID log.txt hashtag 3 complete contact information contact fix equals for each contact and missing contacts write output contact contact name missing information hashtag flag for manual follow-up add content C /IR $incident ID /missing underscore contacts.txt value $contact name. After applying these fixes, should we do one more verification pass before activation? Junior it. Yes, let's do a final verification. PowerShell copy hashtag final pre-activation verification $pre-activation equals at groups equals get group member IR tier asterisk group object name where object count GT1 monitoring equals get job where object state running contacts equals get content C /IR $instant ID missing underscore contacts.txt if not $pre-activation values where object $_ write output all checks passed ready for activation set content path C /IR $instant ID ready underscore for underscore activation value get date else write output issues still pending review required pre-activation export ClickSimulC /IR $incident ID pending underscore issues.xml. Would you like to proceed with activation once all checks pass? Copy. Retry. Oh, yes. Senior it. All right, let's proceed with activation in a controlled manner. PowerShell. Copy. Hashtag begin activation sequence write output equals beginning system activation. Get date equals $incident ID log.txt hashtag 1. Activate access controls dollar activation sequence equals at step 1 underscore access equals hashtag enable all IR tier groups key group filter name like IR tier asterisk for each object say group identity dollar underscore enabled dollar to write output activated group dollar underscore dollar inside logged txt step 2 underscore monitoring equals hashtag start all monitoring jobs backslash monitor underscore access dot ps1 backslash break underscore glass underscore test dot ps1 write output monitoring systems activated dollar inside log dot txt step 3 underscore emergency equals hashtag enable emergency response system say user identity IR emergency break glass enable dollar true copy item emergency underscore procedures dot md destination backslash help desk backslash procedures backslash active backslash write output emergency systems activated dollar incident log dot txt junior it let me monitor the activation of each step PowerShell copy hashtag monitor activation for each dollar step and dollar activation sequence keys write output executing dollar step and dollar activation sequence dollar step hashtag verify step completion dollar verification result equals switch dollar step step 1 underscore access get a group filter name like IR tier asterisk where object not dollar underscore enabled step 2 underscore monitoring get job where object state me running step 3 underscore emergency not test path backslash help desk backslash procedures backslash active backslash emergency underscore procedures dot md if dollar verification result write output warning dollar step verification failed dollar incident id log dot txt break else write output dollar step completed successfully dollar incident id log dot txt senior good now let's verify the entire system is operational PowerShell copy hashtag comprehensive system check dollar system check equals at access control equals dollar groups equals get a group filter name like IR tier asterisk dollar members equals dollar groups for each object get a group number dollar underscore groups equals dollar groups members equals dollar members status equals active monitoring equals dollar jobs equals get job dollar logs equals get twin event filter hashtable at log name equals security ID equals at 4728 4732 4756 max events 10 at jobs equals dollar jobs recent logs equals dollar logs status equals active emergency equals dollar break glass equals get a user IR emergency break glass properties asterisk dollar procedures equals test path backslash help desk backslash procedures backslash active backslash emergency underscore procedures dot md at break glass equals dollar break glass procedures equals dollar procedures status equals active hashtag execute checks and log results for each dollar check and dollar system check keys dollar result equals and dollar system check dollar check if dollar result status EQ active write output dollar check system operational dollar incident ID log dot txt else write output warning dollar check system not fully operational dollar incident ID log dot 3.5 sonnet choose style all systems appear to be operational should we begin user notification process start the first monitoring shift schedule our first system review what's your recommendation for next steps
Very, very long answer. Okay, it seems to be more complicated. I need to give, or the AI to give me a summary of what all is done and the script as a whole. Okay, the case seems to be getting more complicated and contains a lot of scripts. I need a very summarized content of the conversation in simple terms, and the final, and correlate and combine all scripts in one organized professional script. Okay, so let's see if he will get us a summarization of what was done, and I'll try also to use ChatGPT o1 to explain it. So let's see the answer of Claude after all of these conversations. So here is saying that summary of discussion: initial incident detection, suspicious system audit changes, special group assignments, domain admin group modification, SID history modification, response action implemented, create break glass emergency accounts. I think this is used for once. Implemented tiered access control, isolate users depending upon the network segmentation, set up monitoring system, establish emergency communication channels, create verification procedures. Key verification steps: tested break glass accounts, verify monitoring system, validate communication channels, check access control. Here's the consolidated script that combines all of our actions. Okay, incident response master script, author security team, purpose comprehensive IR response for Active Directory incidents. This is the incident, then create logging. Okay, and then initial response, document current status, get services and processes, AD filter, users baseline, groups baseline, emergency setup, create break glass, create accounts, use them only for emergency, set up tiered access groups, tier 1, tier 2, so on. So then what we should do after that, I think the script is a little bit not that much. Monitoring events, set up tiered groups. Okay, then I think he should put some users in it, or you will put it manually. Monitoring setup, enable logging monitoring system. Okay, the events, then having security events, emergency communication, create, these are the emergency team. It is in a JSON file, verification system, okay, access tier 1 for the tier 1 team, test monitoring, test JSON file, return, main execution, system complete, transcript. This script set up incident response environment, create emergency access control, implements monitoring, establish communication channels, include verification tests, to use it, run as a domain admin, monitor the log file for process, check the incident directory for exports and validation. If we can explain it for more, but what are the actions taking here? This is what? Okay, this is for monitoring. Okay, but I think this is not the whole story, because there is, for example, some registry keys that was modified, group policies that was modified. Okay, Okay, we can see here. Okay, I think we need also, let me try and see something here. First of all, I'll try to get the whole case to be explained by ChatGPT. So I will copy all of this. Okay, and then copy. We can go to ChatGPT, and maybe we can have uh, maybe one like that, and then tell him analyze and explain this case in layman's terms. So we can do like this, and we can go further. So I can go and get the rest. Okay, so we can get the rest of the components of the answer. Okay, so we can go like this and get all of the rest of the conversation. I need not the last one. Okay, if we go further, okay, so I can go further up, and here you go. Let's copy that and put it to ChatGPT. Control or Control V. Okay, I think here we have everything put, and let's do like this one, and then let's see if it can be used by 4.0, just to make it a very, very summarized one. Let's begin. So here he's saying this is a scenario is a highly organized practice of responding to a serious cybersecurity incident involving an attacker gaining access to privileged systems and trying to maintain control. Here is the breakdown. The organization noticed suspicious activities such as changes in admin privileges and audit policies, like indicating an attacker attempt to gain unauthorized access. Analyze the team identified potential actions of the attacker, such as privilege escalation and persistence, set up fake admin accounts or hidden tasks to keep control. Response preparation, a step-by-step approach was developed to contain the threat, monitor for further signs of compromise, and safeguard critical systems. Key actions include creating emergency accounts, setting up monitoring systems, and grouping users based on the level of access needed during the incident. Okay, implementing and testing. The team systematically activated safeguards like disabling potential compromised accounts, adding monitoring rules, and preparing communication systems to inform affected users. They tested these measures to ensure everything worked correctly and identified any problems. Activation. Once all systems were confirmed to be operational, the team activated the response plan. They enabled access controls, monitoring, and emergency measures while ensuring nothing critical was disrupted. Next steps, the plan includes with ongoing monitoring, notifying users about changes, and scheduling regular reviews to ensure everything remains secure. Simplified perspective. Imagine someone breaking into a building and stealing. Okay, so this is something, the focus. Okay, so the next thing, uh, analyze all of the scripts included, and correct any miscoded any miscoding, and combine if possible in one organized professional script. So it's saying the script consolidated the virus task into a single professional workflow for handling the described incident. Let me know if you have any further details. If I go to the script, we can see here that it is already included consolidate incident response script initialization. So this is like logging, incident, log setup, emergency account setup, okay, enhanced security auditing, emergency access GPO creation, okay, IE set domain admins, permission, group apply, emergency access group created. Okay, well, this is for GPO. Okay, what does it contain? Set permission, target domain admins, emergency access GPO creation, IAR emergency access, monitoring setup, okay, or setup monitoring, and these are the events network monitoring, process monitoring script, uh, contamination action, executing contamination action, disable suspicious service and activities, okay, block network traffic, uh, verification process, check tiered group members, okay, here is getting these members, okay, verify emergency access, activation and final review, enable tier groups and monitoring, okay, publish emergency final output. So this is maybe it is in one good exercise or one uh, okay, the script controls the various tasks and handling for handling describe. Let me know if there is further uh, things if we can go further. Corrected and professional version of the script. But this script is organized in logical phases. Uh, give me the uh, simulated or sample output for the script. I am in front of the DC. So it's talking about this will appear in front of me after running the script. Incident initialized. Break glass account will create an account for the emergency. Emergency access GPO created. Incident response so and so. Setup monitoring. Network monitoring activated. Process monitoring script created. Process monitoring activated. Then we have contamination actions. Executing action. Suspicious schedule disabled. Service stopped. Registry key disabled as well. Malicious IPs blocked. Contaminating actions completed successfully. Verification process. Verifying tiered group memberships. These are created. Break glass account is active. So these are groups to put the users. Activation and final review. Activating system and final review. These tier groups activated and configured for IR control. Monitoring jobs activated. Network monitoring session. So process so and so. Emergency procedures so and so. Incident, and we have generated log. Incident so and so. Block so. Network so and so. Malicious block contamination. So I think this is can be a complete answer, or this is what appears to be the output. Emergency procedures so and so. Active firewall rules. If you like to test specific sections of the script or additional logs or additional things, let me or give me something here. So I think this can be a good script. It contains a lot of useful information. Actually, I'm impressed. Okay, so this is script. Let's see if can the script, let's see if we can get more out of it. Let's see if I try to have him. Can you enhance the consolidated corrected? Let's see if we can have more. So is there anything? Let's see if we have done anything to the script. So this is the script itself, and then we have, if you go further down, let's see what you have done there. The script has been enhanced to ensure better organization, readability, and functionality. It incorporates improvements in logging, verification, error handling. Let me know if you have any enhancements. Okay, so I think he has already done or he has enhanced the script. So this seems to be good. I think this should be tested. Okay, because it seems to be very long. Okay, so for example, what's this GPO? GPO creation. What he means by GPO creation? He is creating a group policy and target the domain admins, set permissions, target name, domain admins, type, permission level, IR emergency. So here he is giving them emergency access what does they mean? Here he is putting them or giving them access, target, domain admins, target permission level, GPO apply, emergency access GPO created. Maybe they will need to apply a certain GPO, so this is a blank GPO, and they have the domain admins to have so the GPO is IR emergency access, and the domain admins have full access. Also, this is an emergency GPO. Maybe they will need to apply some security settings or something. So even though, so I think this is correct. So if we go to the summarization, if you can see here, I think this uh, is something good. As we can see here, it's giving us a little bit of explanation about what is done exactly. So even though the case seems to be very complicated, but I think the output worth the waiting. Okay, so we need to let me first try to get this uh, here to put it in my lessons, just to make it add to Project Kareem lessons. Okay, so I can review them later. So this is the script, and it seems to be very good and very organized. So I think this case is much better than Chat GPT-o1. Very organized. He's having a plan from the contamination to creating temporary accounts for documenting the action. All of this is done by PowerShell script. So I think this is very good. Hope this video informative for you all, and the upcoming video will begin discussing different tools or third-party tools that will help us also to investigate or to see events, not through the event viewer, but some programs will get you certain events, okay, without needing to search the event viewer. I will show you, for example, there is a program for shutdown events. This only like software will get you shutdown events on your domain controller. Another software for boot issues, he will get you the events concerning the boot. Another program will scan for the blue screen of this. A lot of things actually. So stay tuned for the upcoming video. Hope this video informative for you all, and thank you all for viewing. Thank you so much.